Sports welcomes you to the following presentation of the National Football League.
Welcome back to the Vet in Philadelphia. Kenny Albert with Tim Green. Week 17 of the 1998 NFL season. Carolina leading Indianapolis in the fourth quarter. Green Bay with a victory. Packers headed to the playoffs. Buffalo all over the Saints down at the Superdome. The Ravens with a win over the Lions. The Atlanta Falcons finished 14-2 as they blew out Miami. And the New York Jets finished their regular season 12-4 with a 3-touchdown victory over New England. The Eagles have won the toss, and they will receive Allen Rossum, the rookie out of Notre Dame, averaging nearly 24 yards per kick return. Brad Daloiso will get things started for the 7-8 New York Giants, who have been eliminated from playoff contention due to the Buccaneers' victory today over the Cincinnati Bengals. Giants beat the Eagles 20-0 at the Meadowlands last month. They've won 3 in a row over Philadelphia. And we are underway from the Vet. Final game for both clubs. Allen Rossum from the 3. Brings it out across the 25-yard line, cuts to the outside, and is finally dragged out of bounds by Percy Ellsworth after a 31-yard return. Coy Detmer, in his second NFL season out of the University of Colorado, leads the last-ranked offense out onto the field. 30th in the NFL. Detmer making his 5th start. Trey Thomas, the #1 draft pick out of Florida State. And Deuce Staley aiming for the 1,000-yard mark on the season. Irving Fryer in his final NFL game. Fryer in motion, 1st and 10 from the 36-yard line of the pitchback to Deuce Staley, who coming into the game racked up 968 yards on the season. Carlton Gray took Staley down after a gain of 7. For the New York Giants, defensively, they lead the NFL in sacks. Michael Strahan with 14. He's heading to the Pro Bowl. So is linebacker Jesse Armstead. In the secondary, 2 changes today. Ellsworth and Gray starting for the injured Tito Wooten and Felipe Sparks. 2nd down and 3 for Coy Detmer and the Eagles. From the 43, here's Staley once again. Wants to have a 1st down.
And when you look at the Philadelphia Eagles at the point of the season that they're at, you try to look for bright spots. Deuce Staley has certainly been one of those.
Staley in his 2nd NFL season out of South Carolina. He and Charlie Garner took over for the departed Ricky Waters, who gained over 1,000 yards the last 3 seasons for the Eagles. Garner out with a rib injury, so Staley has taken over as the #1 back here in Philadelphia. Detmer to the air for the first time, incomplete, looking for Irving Fryer.
Well, believe it or not, coming into this game, 2 of the main priorities for the Eagles were to get Irving Fryer 5 catches and get Deuce Staley over 1,000 yards. And that's how bad the Eagles' season has been. And when you're going in and your game plan is focused on personal statistics, it doesn't get much worse than that.
Wide 5 catches for Fryer. That would give him 50 for the 9th consecutive season. No other active player has done that. Staley, and he's followed up by the combination of Christian Peter and Michael Strahan. Peter starting once again for the injured Robert Harris.
And talking with John Fox yesterday, he said Peter is just as good as a regular starter. And this is a guy who really, you have to commend what he's done, because he's out there, and a lot of people thought, including myself, that the Giants were making a mistake by picking him up. He's gotten his life in total control, and he's really done a nice job on the football field as well as off.
An empty backfield for the Eagles. 3rd and 9, 5 wide receivers. Irving Fryer makes the catch. 1st down and more into Giants territory. A gain of 18 yards. And the 782nd catch of Fryer's career. He is 7th all time.
Well, when you want to get the ball to Irving Fryer, you put him in motion, you drag him right across the center of the field, He puts a move on the safety. He picks up a first down. Again, you're going to see the ball go to Irving Fryer a lot today. And the Giants may want to start to give him a little more attention to their coverage.
Fryer also approaching 12,000 career yards as Deuce Staley is bottled up after a gain of 1 by the Giants' strong safety, Sam Garnes.
And talk about the reason why the Giants have resurged. I think Sam Garnes has had something to do with that as well. You know, defensively, Percy Ellsworth, who's a free safety, had to play some at that strong safety position, and it was tough. The Giants had a tough time stopping the run without Sam Garnes.
Second down and 9. Denver with time, and he overthrows the fullback, Kevin Turner. Corey Whitmer, the middle linebacker, on the coverage.
Well, Sam Garnes comes as a safety blitz on the outside, but Deuce Staley picks it up. So Coy Detmer has plenty of time. He's got a receiver open, and he just misses.
Eagles on third down last week against Dallas, 1 of 15 today, 1 for 1. Again, 5 wide receivers on 3rd and 9. And Detmer is hit by Percy Ellsworth, but the official ruling, an incomplete pass, not a sack. Detmer has not been sacked in the last 3 games.
Man, the Eagles' offensive line loves the fact that Detmer has not given up a sack. And a lot of the reason is because of Detmer, not so much because of the offensive line, but Detmer usually gets back there and gets rid of the ball. So the ball with that forward motion is an incomplete pass instead of a fumble. Giants using the blitz with Percy Ellsworth.
And the Eagles will go for it on 4th and 9 from the Giants' 33. Again, 5 wideouts. Nobody in the backfield. Denver steps up and then throws. Incomplete once again. Percy Ellsworth nearly picked it off, but the Eagles give it away on downs. 3.5 in, first quarter from the vet in Philadelphia.
Fox NFL Sunday is brought to you by Southwest Airlines, proud sponsor of the NFL and official airline of the Super Bowl.
Well, the Giants defense thwarted the Eagles' opening drive. Now it's the Giants' turn. Kent Graham starting for the 6th consecutive game. 1st and 10 from the 33. Gary Brown also approaching the 1,000-yard mark. And he's forced out of bounds by Michael Zordich. Brown lost a yard on the play. Giants offense ranked 28 in the NFL, in front of only New Orleans and the Eagles. Graham 4-1 as a starter this year. Ron Stone returning. He missed last week's game with a calf injury. Brown and Way, both natives of the Philadelphia area. In the backfield for the Giants, Chris Callaway is their leading receiver. A double play fake, and then Graham's pass incomplete, intended for Gary Brown. Graham faked 2 handoffs on the play. Defensively for the Eagles, they are ranked 15th in the NFL. A depleted defensive line. Hugh Douglas returns today after missing last week's game, leading the club with 12.5 sacks. The linebacking core, Thomas, a 2-time Pro Bowler. A good secondary. Taylor and Vincent are the corners. Dawkins and Zordich, the safeties. Graham out of the shotgun. 3rd down and 11. The pass is batted. Batted back. And the Giants will be forced to punt. Al Wallace got a piece of it.
And there's no excuse for that because the Eagles went with total coverage on that last play. Only 3 men rushing. And when you've got 3 men rushing, you've got to double up 2 of them as your offensive line. 1 guy's single, and you have to drive those guys out of the quarterback's throwing lane.
Allen Rossum back deep. Brad Maynard, 2nd in the NFC, averaging over 45 yards per punt. Rossum from the 17. Across the 30. Another big return by Rossum. Taken down at the 41-yard line. 24-yard return, 51-yard punt by Maynard. Fullback Greg Camella finding a way to keep warm on the sidelines. Eagles start their second offensive drive from their own 41, and they have struggled all year long on first downs. Worst in the NFL. Detmer airing it out, and it is broken up by the combination of Carlton Gray and Percy Ellsworth. Gray starting for the injured Felipe Sparks. Well, Tim, next Sunday, the road to Super Bowl 33 on Fox begins with the NFC Wild Card Playoff game. Two of the NFC's top teams will square off to see who will take on the Vikings or the Falcons in the divisional playoffs. Check local listings for the game and start time in your area next Sunday on Fox. On second down, the pitch back to Deuce Staley, and he's met by a trio of Giants. Staley now 19 yards away from 1,000.
The Giants coming very aggressively on this play here with a run blitz. Watch both linebackers start to play out with an immediate fill. So what that tells you is they're building an 8-man front, and each man has a gap. So every man goes on the snap of the ball right to their spot. And Christian Peter was the guy who really forced that play back to the inside.
3 wideouts, 3rd and 10. Detmer looking for Jeff Graham, and he threw it away out of bounds. Graham, who had trouble last week, he dropped 3 passes from Detmer.
Yeah, the last week, the Philadelphia Eagles receivers probably the worst display of ball control or ball handling I've ever seen in a National Football League game. And Detmer's numbers weren't even that bad against the Cowboys. You can only imagine what they would have been had his receivers hung on to the ball. 9 drop passes.
Fair catch called for by Amani Toomer on the 38-yard punt by Tom Hutton, his 101st punt of the season, most in the NFC.
Giants quarterback Kent Graham likes to throw the ball deep downfield. And if you look at the numbers for the last 5 weeks, Graham with 7 pass plays of 30 yards or more total, as compared to Danny Cannell's last 5 games, only 2 total passes in that deep area. There's Danny Cannell there on the sideline. Of course, part of the reason that Graham has thrown the ball deep and been successful is his strong arm, but part of it too is luck. I mean, a lot of what happens in this league, if you start winning, guys start believing in themselves and they start believing in their quarterback.
On first down from the 23, the catch is made by Chris Callaway. And Callaway has set a new Giants record with a reception in 47 consecutive games, the old mark of 46 held by David Megan. And Callaway also ties his career high with his 58th reception of the season. Gain of 7, 2nd and 3. Gary Brown up the middle, gains 2 yards. So it will be 3rd and short for the Giants.
Well, that's exactly where you want to be. I mean, you come out with a first down pass, you can do a nice outcut, and then that gives you the luxury of being able to run the ball on the next 2 downs. That's what Jim Fossil wants to be able to do. He doesn't want his quarterback to be in a 3rd and 10, 3rd and 9, no throwing situation.
Brown mishandled it on the pitch back from Graham, and is stopped about 4 yards shy of the first down marker by Mike Caldwell.
Well, talking to the Giants yesterday, everyone said, well, we're not going to let what happens with Tampa Bay affect us, but I think it is. I mean, I think if you look, the Giants are playing pretty flat right now. And that's just Gary Brown, a total lack of concentration. He's got to look that ball in and bring it in. I think it's just natural, knowing that they're out of the playoffs now, that the Giants are going to have a little bit of a letdown, but it's not something that they can't correct.
Alan Rawson bobbles the fair catch and then falls on it at the 25. 43-yard punt by Maynard, but the Giants have gone 3 and out on both of their offensive possessions today.
In the financial world, Fox NFL Sunday is brought to you by First Union, your guide to the financial world. By Virus, a universal release starring Jamie Lee Curtis, William Baldwin, and Donald Sutherland, starts Friday, January 15th. By IBM, are you ready for e-business? And by Nike and the Nike Alpha Project.
Eagles take over following the punt on their own 25-yard line. Detmer now 2 for 8. His last 5 passes had fallen incomplete. New Staley gains 3 yards on the first down play. Ray Rhodes, in his 4th season with the Eagles, this is his last game.
Yeah, talking with Ray this week, though, he said, hey, I want to be a head coach again in this league. There was a rumor circulating around, and he may have indicated a couple weeks ago that it might be nice to have a break and spend a couple years back as a coordinator. But he said, no, none of that. I want to be a head coach in this league as soon as I possibly can.
On 2nd down and 7, Staley out to the 32-yard line, a gain of 4.
And this play here is something that really has enabled Deuce Staley to approach that 1,000-yard mark. And what the Eagles do is they pull the backside and they block it. It's called a power O. A lot of teams are using it, but the key is to get that pulling guard to knock out the defensive lineman as he comes on the move.
Third down and 3 for the Eagles. 3 wide receivers. They keep it on the ground with Staley. And he is stopped well short of the first down marker. So once again, the Eagles will punt it away.
Yeah, the Giants defense is doing a real nice job of containing this Philadelphia offense. You know, we talked early, right at the beginning of the game, Kenny, about how the Giants defense has come to depend on their offense and expect that they're not going to go 3 and out. But so far, that's all the Giants offense has done. If they want to keep that defense invigorated, they got to put some, put some chain drives together.
Hutton's punt is fielded by Tilmer. Fair catch at the 29-yard line. 38-yard punt by Hutton. Well, tonight, Homer becomes an inventive genius and creates the ultimate sports chair on The Simpsons. Then in the 70s, there's no better way to greet the president than by streaking on that 70s show. Fox Sunday night starts tonight at 7, 6 Central. The ultimate sports chair. That would look pretty good in your basement.
A lot of irreverence. I think you'd want it in your basement.
And here's Gary Brown out to the 35-yard line, a gain of 6. Brown grew up a Philadelphia Eagles fan, native of Williamsport, Pennsylvania, and he has agreed in principle to a new contract with the Giants.
Yeah, that's right. And you have to really like Gary Brown and what he's brought to this team. And the thing that I think he does the best is runs with determination. You know, because when you think he's down, he's not. He picks up another yard, another 2 yards, and at the end of the game, those things add up.
And he will be back with the Giants next season. As they put the finishing touches on the deal, Brown out to the 40, and he picks up the Giants' first down.
The other thing that I find really interesting about Gary Brown is before the game in the locker room, you know, guys are each to themselves, they're doing their own thing. Gary Brown goes around and shakes the hand of each one of his teammates because he says then that makes him feel personally accountable to each man for the way he plays on game day.
He's picked up 12 yards today, 37 shy of 1,000. First and 10 from the 40. First carry of the game for Philadelphia native Charles Way. Another Giants first down. And right now for an NFL update, let's return to James Brown at the Fox Network Center.
Kenny and Tim, take a look at Steve Bono. St. Louis trying to do in San Francisco as he finds Ricky Prohl, and they're on top of San Francisco 7-3. The ex-49er quarterback trying to lead them to victory. Kenny and Tim.
Well, a victory by the 49ers today, and they would host the Green Bay Packers next week. Giants in Eagles territory, and a big hole for Brown inside the 35 to the 33. A gain of 16 yards.
This is exactly what the Giants love to do. Get that run game going, again, with that power. And their offensive line, I think, is blocking better, too. Look at the hole they open up here for Gary Brown. And then he uses his strength to break a tackle, and then he's downfield. Those are the kinds of things the Giants want to do. They've done it the last 5 weeks. And as I said, if they play like this next season, they're going to win the NFC East.
They won the division last year with a record of 10-5-1. A gain of 1 for Gary Brown. Last year, the Giants did not lose a division game. They went 7-0-1. This year, 4-3 against the NFC East.
Well, what I'm seeing, too, is the Eagles' defense with their safeties playing back. Their safeties playing deep. And again, I talked to Michael Zordich this week before the game, and the first thing he said was, hey, we got to watch out for Kent Graham going deep. Now, we haven't seen Graham with the deep ball yet, but we'll see it soon. And their respect for that deep ball, I think, is opening up the run for the Giants.
Graham 1 for 3 for 7 yards. 2nd and 9 from the 32. Graham with the play fake, and the pass incomplete, intended for Ike Hilliard. Troy Vincent on the coverage.
Yeah, now Graham tried to force that one in, but Hilliard, he's got to pick that thing up. You know, on this play here, the Eagles chose to stack the line of scrimmage. They bring, here's Zordich right here. He builds the ape, and watch the immediate pressure. So they put the blitz on right away, and this is when exactly when Kent Graham wants to go deep. Right? I mean, do you think he's got to catch that or no?
They want to go?
Well, Vincent was climbing up his back.
You say no? I say yes.
Well, somebody has to catch this one. 3rd and 9 from the 32. And Graham's pass is caught. And Hilliard signals first down.
That's a nice catch right there. That is not an easy catch to make, because what you have to do, Hilliard had to go up and turn around and look that ball in. No pressure on Kent Graham. Watch that right there. That's a difficult catch to make. Somewhat acrobatic, and there you see Hugh Douglas just getting totally knocked out of the passing lane. Remember earlier I said when they rush 3, you got to clear the passing lane.
Harry Brown pulled down by Brian Dawkins after a gain of 2 yards.
You know, when we saw the game break that JB showed us, you saw Steve Bono kind of invigorating the Rams. And really, the best way to give any team kind of a shot is to change the quarterback. And the Giants did it. And I think that the Eagles over the past couple weeks, they've played better because Hoy Detmer came in. So a lot of times, that's the answer to getting better play out of your team at the end of the season.
Penalty markers for the first time today.
Number 74, 5 yards. It's still 2nd down.
Well, Scott Gregg's got a few penalties on him on the season. You know what, though? If you're an offensive lineman, you hardly ever get your face on TV. So I think sometimes these guys do it on purpose. Look at that nice headshot there.
Did you do that on the D-line?
I had plenty of face shots from penalties, but I didn't do them on purpose.
Following the penalty, 2nd and 14. Graham can't find anybody. Decides to take off and is pulled down by Greg Jefferson.
That's nice coverage downfield by the Philadelphia Eagles secondary. And that really is the reason why this Eagles defense is number 2 in the pass across the NFL. I mean, with a miserable 3-12 record, they still have a lot of pride, and they still do a great job at covering up receivers. If you stop it right there, you see the coverage here, 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 and here. It's as tight as it can get. Kent Graham has absolutely nowhere to throw that ball.
Jefferson credited with a sack on the play. No gain for Graham. Jefferson's 4th sack of the season. And Graham calls timeout on 3rd and 14.
Well, Kent Graham saw the heat coming. He saw that Eagles blitz. He didn't know how to pick it up, so he wisely called a timeout.
Kenny Albert, Tim Green back in Philadelphia. Late first quarter with no score. In case you joined us late, the Giants have been eliminated from playoff contention due to the Tampa Bay Buccaneers' 35-0 thrashing of the Cincinnati Bengals. But the Buccaneers need the Giants to win this game to keep Tampa Bay's playoff hopes alive. Graham out of the shotgun, 3rd and 14. Graham is taken down by Al Wallace. Sack number 6 on the season for Wallace.
Well, the Eagles showed the blitz, and then Kent Graham called a timeout so they could make the adjustment. Now, look, they show the blitz again, but watch this here. Some of these guys are backing out into coverage, and so instead of seeing the full blitz, Kent Graham saw the full coverage, and again, he has no place to go.
And now Brad D'Aloiso, who missed 2 field goals against Kansas City in the Giants' victory last week, will attempt a 43-yarder. And D'Aloiso's kick is good. So the Giants have taken a 3-0 lead with 34 seconds remaining in the first quarter.
At the 34 seconds remaining in the first quarter.
By doing that, they gave their defense a rest. They put some points on the board. But I think the most important of those is to give that defense a rest, allow them to continue to play the way they've played so far this game.
Well, Tim, on New Year's Day, the place to watch college football is on Fox when the NCAA's all-time leading rusher and Heisman Trophy winner Ricky Williams leads the Longhorns of Texas against the Bulldogs of Mississippi State. Don't miss the Southwestern Bell Cotton Bowl Classic New Year's Day on Fox.
Of course, there's a lot of talk in Philadelphia about Ricky Williams. Philadelphia, if they lose today, would have the 2nd pick of the draft, Cleveland having the 1st pick. And a lot of people are saying that Couch will go to Cleveland, and that would enable the Eagles to pick up Ricky Williams. And there it is right there. How do you spell relief? Ricky. But I don't see them doing that. I think that they're happy with the way Deuce Staley has played and is a solid runner, and I think they have too many other needs. I would expect them to trade down.
And Aloiso's kickoff is fielded by Allen Rossum. Brings it out across the 25 to the 27-yard line. It was met initially by Pete Monty. 25-yard return by Rossum. Well, the thought amongst the media here in Philadelphia is that with Deuce Staley enjoying the season that he is having, as you said, instead of drafting Ricky Williams, perhaps trade down, draft a quarterback and get an extra pick like the Arizona Cardinals did last year when they did not need a quarterback with Jake Plummer, and they flip-flopped with the San Diego Chargers. 1st and 10 from the 27-yard line. Staley. Marcus Buckley, first Giant in on the stop, and that should do it for the first quarter as time winds down from the vet in Philadelphia. A 43-yard field goal by Brad D'Aloiso of the Giants, accounting for the only points of the quarter in the final game of the 1998 regular season. Giants 3 and the Eagles nothing. Fox NFL Sunday continues after these messages and a word from your local station. Back in Philadelphia, 1 quarter complete. A 3-0 lead for the New York Giants over the Philadelphia Eagles. Kenny Albert along with Tim Green. The Arizona Cardinals, with a victory over San Diego, will make the playoffs. If Arizona loses, then Tampa Bay needs the Giants to win in order to set up a 3-way tie. In the event of a 3-way tie with the Giants, Cardinals, and Buccaneers all 8-8, then Tampa Bay would make the playoffs.
Well, they would, because you go to the division and the Giants swept the Cardinals, so the Giants would then face off against the Bucs, and the Giants lost head-to-head to the Bucs, so therefore the Bucs go into the playoffs.
So in the event of a 3-way tie, it would be Tampa Bay. So the Buccaneers rooting for the Giants in this game, and the Chargers and the Cardinals holding a 7-0 lead over San Diego at Sun Devil Stadium. To Staley. is over the 1,000-yard mark, takes it all the way into the end zone, 64 yards.
Giants linebacker Corey Whitmer commits himself to the run right away, and he gets knocked out by George Hegeman, who blasts open a hole, and then Staley outruns the Giants secondary. Not only did Hegeman have a block in this play, well, let's watch Irving Fryer playing in his last game. Here he seals off Carlton Gray. That also helped Staley get to the end zone.
Chris Boniol adds the extra point. It's the longest run of Staley's two-year career, the longest offensive play by the Eagles this season. And Deuce Staley is over the 1,000-yard mark for the Eagles. A 64-yard touchdown run.
Fox NFL Sunday is brought to you by Bud Light. For the great taste that won't fill you up and never lets you down, make it a Bud Light. By Texaco, a world of energy. By Energizer Advanced Formula Battery. No battery lasts longer. And by Gateway. Get more out of the box with a Gateway.
Back in Philadelphia, a 64-yard touchdown run by Deuce Staley. Only the third longest rushing touchdown against the Giants this year. Napoleon Kaufman on an 80-yard scoring play. Garrison Hurst a 70-yard touchdown run against the Giants. And Staley a 64-yarder here today. Amani Toomer brings the kickoff back out to the 38-yard line. And right now for an NFL update, James Brown, take it away.
Kenny and Tim, Arizona doing its part against San Diego and Arizona's victory, and the Cardinals are in the playoffs. Take a look at A.J. Morrell, third effort, and he reaches over. Touchdown, Arizona. Now, if Arizona wins, they'll play Dallas possibly on Fox next Sunday, possibly on ABC next Saturday. Let's take it back to our guys, Kenny Albert and Tim Green.
So the Arizona Cardinals looking to extend their season. What's going on, boy? Deuce Staley giving the Eagles some hope in their final game. Charles Way on the inside handoff. And Way works his way all the way up to the 48-yard line, a gain of 9. Bryant Dawkins made the tackle.
Kenny, here's what I'm talking about with the Philadelphia defense and their respect for that deep ball. See these safeties here? These guys are here to help the corners in pass coverage, so they've only got 7 guys up on the line of scrimmage. And when they have that, I think that's when the Giants are going to be able to run the ball all day long. Giants got a wake-up call from that Deuce Staley touchdown.
Gary Brown bottled up.
You look at a team like the Philadelphia Eagles, you look at their miserable record, everyone knows that Ray Rhodes is going to be fired, and so what you expect is they're going to come in here and lay down. But one thing Ray Rhodes' team has not done all season is lay down for anyone. Now, they've got a bad team. They've had real trouble at quarterback and other key positions, but they've played hard.
And they played a bunch of close games recently. They were blown out on a number of occasions earlier in the season off the play fake. Rams pass complete. Ike Hilliard to the Eagles 45. James Willis made the stop.
And I really think that the Giants came out logy because of what happened with Tampa Bay. Again, they could say what they want and how they expected not to go to the playoffs, but believe me, they were hoping like no one else that Tampa Bay would lose that game in Cincinnati and give them a breath of life in this game here today. I think they came out flat, but I think Staley's touchdown gave them a wake-up call.
On 2nd and 5, Charles Way met by the 2-time Pro Bowl linebacker William Thomas. Charles Way, the Philadelphia Public League Player of the Year at Northeast High School. Here in Philly, he was the Giants' top rusher a year ago.
Well, the thing that allows Charles Way to rush is Gary Brown's willingness to block. Now, he doesn't do a good job blocking here. William Thomas comes under him and makes that tackle. But Gary Brown is that type of player. He's a team type of guy who is very willing, even though he's a halfback, to sometimes block for his fullback.
3rd down and 5. 3 wide receivers for the Giants. And penalty markers On the
False
play,
start. Number 78, 5 yards. It's still third down.
Left guard Greg Bishop.
Yeah, and that to me could have been the new version of the flinch rule. And I think it should have been a defensive. Right here, watch this Philadelphia defender and watch what he does. When he gives that start there, I think that qualifies as the new flinch rule and should have been a delay of game penalty against the Philadelphia Eagles. Any defender within a yard of the line of scrimmage, if they give that false twitch, it's supposed to be a penalty on the defense.
Instead, it's against the Giants, setting up third down and 10. Hilliard in motion. Graham out of the shotgun. Swings it out. Tiki Barber down the sidelines. And looks like he has the first down. William Thomas forced him out. A gain of 11 for Barber.
And Tiki Barber is another guy who I think has picked up his level of play, obviously, over the last several weeks. And he had a lot of expectations in. They tried to play him as a runner early on. But this is where he's best. Third down, just dump him the ball, give him a wide open field, and let him use his speed and his elusiveness to pick up the first down.
And now Graham swings it out. Gary Brown, for the second time today, could not make the catch.
Now, are you calling the pitch the first time that he couldn't make the catch?
Another one as well.
Yeah, so that's 3 times that he has not been able to hang on to the football. And, you have to wonder if that big contract that he just agreed to isn't distracting him a little bit. I mean, last year, the guy is living in an apartment, eating a lot of fat. 2 years ago, he's living in an apartment, eating a lot of fast food. Now, I'm sure that is going to be a big-time NFL contract that he just signed.
On second down, Brown cuts to the near side, still on his feet. Forced out of bounds at the 32-yard line. A gain of 7.
You talk about yards after first contact, and that's what Gary Brown gives you. Watch this run here. Not a big run, but again, a lot of backs, they go down right there. On that first hit, Brown keeps going, but for the fact that he went out of bounds, he's spinning, he's still going. Watch it here. Bang, bounces off, keeps going. Another guy on his feet, another guy. See that? That's just great determination.
Third down and 3 from the 32. 3 wideouts, and the pitch back goes to Tiki Barber, who stumbles across the 30, close to another Giants first down.
That was a nice decision by Tiki Barber. That pitch is meant to go to the outside, but he saw a gap in the defense that was pursuing him, and he cut it right up to the inside.
Tiki's brother, Rondé, plays for the Buccaneers, and we'll take another look.
Watch this. This is a toss play, so Charles Way's out here. He's on the lead block, and now what Barber does is he reads that defense. He sees a little bit of space back to the inside, and he takes it to the first down.
Here's Gary Brown. Brown out of bounds at the 20-yard line, getting back to the Barber family. Tiki with the Giants, Rondé with the Buccaneers. Tiki said during the week, the postseason is thicker than blood. I've offered Rondé money. I've offered him first-class airfare anywhere he wants and the best meals if he and his teammates would lay down against the Bengals. It did not work.
You know that's not going to work. And you see Barber last season had 2 nice games against this Philadelphia Eagles club.
Jim Fossil signaling timeout. Second timeout called by the Giants here in the first half. Penalty marker as well. As referee Jerry Austin talks it over.
On the play, we had 12 minutes to come to the huddle. Before the huddle is completed, New York calls their second timeout.
So the Giants are charged with the timeout. We'll return to Veterans Stadium after this. A 7-3 lead for the Philadelphia Eagles over the New York Giants. Early second quarter. And Giants running back Gary Brown is 1 yard away from 1,000. He went over the 1,000-yard mark in 1993 with the Houston Oilers. Charles Way picks up the first down for the Giants.
And the impressive thing about both Gary Brown and Deuce Staley getting their 1,000 yards or getting that 1,000-yard mark really is the fact that neither of them started the season as starters and played the whole season. And Staley split time with Charlie Garner. Of course, Gary Brown, the Giants haven't discovered until just recently.
Penalty markers on first down.
False start, number 65. 5 yards. It's still first down.
Third penalty today against the Giants' offensive line.
What Ron Stone has to remember, I know he's been hurt and he hasn't practiced as much over the last couple weeks, but is that Kent Graham uses a hard count a lot. And he draws the defense off most times, but I think probably Ron Stone's lack of practice over the past couple weeks allowed him to slip back into that careless mode where Kent Graham's hard count threw him off.
Here's Brown, and he took a hard hit from James Willis.
Sometimes that last yard is the hardest.
Well, we have been told they actually took away 3 yards from Gary Brown's totals. They originally, on that pitchback that Brown could not handle, originally credited Graham with -3, and they've changed it to Brown, so now he needs 3 more yards.
Yeah.
Never easy. 2nd and 14. Graham swings it out to Brown. And Brown is wrapped up by Mike Caldwell at the 16-yard line, a gain of 5.
Again, you see this Eagles secondary really clamping down with their coverage in this red zone area. The other time that the Giants got into the red zone, they chose to cover, and here's Bobby Taylor working on Chris Callaway right here, and Callaway just has no place at all. Taylor has him completely smothered.
Bobby Taylor did not play much last week against Dallas due to the flu. Returning today, 3 wide receivers for the Giants. 3rd down and 9. Graham out of the shotgun. Fires to the left side for Tiki Barber, but Barber could not hang on to it.
Now, Kenny, the Giants came into this game expecting the Eagles defense to blitz them the way the Eagles blitzed Troy Aikman in last week's game. And so they prepared for it by using Chris Callaway in motion and having him watch Callaway. He ends up just sitting in here as a blocker. So they think that the blitz is coming, but it's not. The Eagles, again, they're off in coverage, and Graham has nowhere to go but the dump-off pass.
Ron DeLuiso hit from 43 earlier. This a 33-yard attempt. And DeLuiso is now 2 for 2. He pulls the Giants within 1. It's the Eagles 7 and the Giants 6.
Houston, we have a problem.
On Sunday, January 10th, Eddie Murphy returns to television with a wild new look and a bold new attitude. From the mind and mouth of Eddie Murphy comes the PJ Series preview, Sunday, January 10th on Fox. John Harris and the Philadelphia Eagles leading the Giants 7-6. DeLuiso's kickoff is handled by Corey Walker from the 8-yard line. And Walker is wrapped up by Brandon Sanders after a 17-yard return. So Coy Detmer and the Eagles back to the offense.
Okay, I know that Giants, again, only came up with a field goal, but look at this time of possession here. And that kind of time of possession disparity really enables that Giants defense to sit back there on the bench, get rested, get rejuvenated, and say, hey, let's not let that Deuce Staley type thing happen to us again.
Staley with a 64-yard touchdown run for the game's only touchdown. And the Eagles start from their own 26-yard line. Corey Walker, who gained 40 yards against the Cowboys last week with his first carry of the game, second year out of Arkansas State. Six and a half remaining, second quarter. Three wide receivers for the Eagles. Detmer with a quick drop, and the quick slant is caught by Jeff Graham into Giants territory. To the Giants' 44-yard line, a gain of 26. Sam Garnes finally brought Graham down.
That's just terrible tackling on this play here. Jeff Graham's a guy who dropped so many passes last week. Runs right through three Giants defenders. Armstead, Widmer, and Carlton Gray all there, but Graham just weaves his way through the middle of them.
Graham, a former New York Jet, acquired during the offseason for a pair of draft picks. Setting up a first down from the Giants' 45. Corey Walker up the middle. Gains 1 yard. Well, the Eagles have already accomplished one of their goals. Staley with the 1,000 yards. Walker getting a chance right here.
And they're doing it again. And watch Hageman. This time, the Giants are ready for him. Michael Strahan just jams up Hageman as well as the tight end. And that's what forces this thing back to the inside for the rest of the Giants defense.
On 2nd and 8, Staley. Inside the 40. Close to another Eagles first down.
The Eagles are getting this run game going now. When you have a play go to the outside, as this toss does here, you got to have guys downfield. You got to have Fryer down there, Kevin Turner. You got to have this kind of blocking downfield to enable that run to pick up the first down.
Which it did. Staley now with 89 yards on 10 carries. Detmer changing the play at the line. Play clock winding down. They just get it off. And Corey Widmer wraps up Corey Walker.
You know, Kenny, I talked earlier about what Sam Garnes brings to this Giants run defense. And that play right there was a good example of it. Here's Garnes, and watch how fast and how hard he comes up and fills on this ball. Right there. Wham.
Second down and 8 from the Eagles' 33. Detmer over the top. The catch is made by Kevin Turner. Corey Widmer and Conrad Hamilton on the stop after a gain of 8. And
getting rid of the ball quickly is Ty Detmer's special. Corey Detmer's specialty. Here he is. He drops back. When he sees nothing downfield, he gets rid of that ball quick to the underneath man. And then Kevin Turner does a nice job running through Corey Widmer.
Ty, of course, started for the Eagles last year, now back up in San Francisco. They are the only brother combination in NFL history to both start. Kevin Turner. Keith Hamilton on the stop, and a penalty marker comes in.
Marcus Buckley on the stop. There is a flag on the play.
Personal foul. 15-yard face mask. Number 55. Half a distance to the goal. Automatic first down.
Marcus Buckley.
Well, Kenny, that play right there began with Big Bubba Miller. Miller, playing at the tight end position, puts the block on Michael Strahan right here, and then he goes upfield and blocks Widmer. So he really, Bubba Miller gets 2 blocks on that play. Miller, normally a center or a guard, playing at tight end, and he's not in there to catch the football.
And there's the face mask on Buckley. Detmer pump fakes. Jesse Armstead, after a gain of 4, brought down Detmer.
And again, I think Detmer is a guy, talking to him during the week, he said, I like to watch Doug Flutie. I like to watch Jake the Snake Plummer. And that's the kind of thing those guys do. If the pass isn't open downfield, they take it in their own hands. They'll run and throw. Sometimes he'll change his mind 2 or 3 times in one play. I don't know what Steve Everett's doing.
Well, 2-minute warning.
He's counting on the,
2-minute warning.
He's the only guy who's not in his stance, ready to go. I guess he made the decision.
They decided not to run a play.
Can't run it if the center's not there to snap it.
One of the many Irving Fryer fans on hand today. Fryer playing his last National Football League game. Eagles are in the red zone. They've scored only 13 red zone touchdowns this year, second fewest in the NFL. They can pick up a first down without reaching the end zone. 2nd and 6 from the 7. Staley down to the 3-yard line. Well, coming up on the Visa halftime report, James Brown, Terry Bradshaw, Howie Long, and Chris Collinsworth will have scores as well as highlights from around the league. And our Fox Sports ticker will have up to the second snap. That's all coming up on the Visa halftime report. They will update you on the playoff scenarios in both the NFC and the AFC. One spot still open, Arizona or Tampa Bay. Staley is finally brought down on 3rd and 2. He does not pick up the first down. The fans want the Eagles to go for it.
That's a nice defensive play by the Giants.
With the play clock winding down, Detmer will call timeout. So Ray Rhodes can make
Timeout,
the decision.
Philadelphia.
Late first half, Eagles by 1.
Ladies and gentlemen, back to Lucky Fans. Watch the scoreboard to see if you are the winners. Eagles representing.
Well, they are ice skating here in Philadelphia, right over our logo.
Yeah, what happens when that melts? Does the logo melt, or is it underneath?
Well, now Ray Rhodes elects to go for the field goal. He had the offensive unit out, and now sends Chris Monial in to attempt a 19-yard field goal. Monial has struggled this year. He's only 13 of 20 overall, and he nails this one.
And I don't know why. I know why the crowd is booing, but they shouldn't be. Because if they want to see the Eagles win this game, and you get down there, not only did they just come away with 3 points, but had the Giants defense been able to stop them, it would have given the Giants a tremendous amount of momentum.
Do the fans want to see the Eagles win this game?
No, they probably don't.
With a loss, they would be guaranteed the 2nd overall draft pick behind the expansion Cleveland Browns. With a victory, it would be anywhere between 2 and 5.
Yeah, but I can promise you that all these guys, especially Irving Fryer, you saw sitting on the bench there, they want to win. I mean, you want to go out and end the season with at least somewhat of a good taste in your mouth.
A loss today, and the Eagles will set a franchise record for most losses in one season. Well, January 31st is Super Bowl Sunday, and Fox Sports will be live from Miami to bring you a full day of football, NFL specials, and all the entertainment and information you'll need before the big game. Plan ahead and be a part of Super Bowl 33, beginning at 11 a.m. Eastern, 8 a.m. Pacific, right here on Fox.
You see that the Giants defense just evened out, or almost evened out, that time of possession. A very long drive for that Philadelphia Eagles offense, moving the ball all the way down the field against the Giants.
An 11-play, 6.5-minute drive by the Eagles. Tiki Barber down the sidelines, and the Giants with 32 seconds remaining in the first half. Barber a 12-yard return. Corey Walker forced Barber out of bounds. So Ken Graham, who led the victory over the Denver Broncos 2 weeks ago, the comeback victory, and was named NFC Offensive Player of the Week, will have 32 seconds to try and lead the Giants downfield. They start from their own 32-yard line and have just one timeout remaining. 4 wide receivers. And the inside handoff to Barber. Gains 6 yards out of bounds at the 38. They caught the Eagles off guard. Coming up, the Visa halftime report. JB, Terry, Howie, and Chris. Scores and highlights on this final Sunday of the NFL regular season, plus the Fox Sports ticker. All the playoff teams are set in the AFC. Arizona or Tampa Bay will play Dallas next week. Graham on second down, steps up, pump fakes, and gains the first down and then calls timeout.
Yeah, what the Giants want to do here, they want to at least get into field goal range and try to get a couple more points on the board. Kent Graham's willingness to run the ball, I think, and you talk about other things that can invigorate guys on your team. And that'll do it. I mean, that invigorates offensive guys and defensive guys. They like to see a big body guy like Kent Graham just pull the ball down and sometimes take it upon himself. I mean, you have to love last week in the game against Kansas City when they ran the quarterback draw. Kent Graham runs it into the end zone and doesn't just score, but he knocks a Kansas City defensive back flat on his back.
Jim Fossil says hitting Kent in the pocket is like hitting a mule.
Yeah, I think he's, it was funny talking with Michael Strahan. He said, boy, if he had a 72 on his back instead of a 12 or a 10, you'd think that he was some kind of a lineman.
6'5", 240 pounds for a quarterback.
I don't believe it's 240.
Off the fingertips of Tiki Barber.
I'll tell you one thing, the Eagles have really shut down any kind of chance at a deep pass. As Kent Graham, again, dumps this off, and you said it's like hitting a mule. Well, the Eagles get to find out what it's like. Brandon Whiting hit the mule.
His longest pass play today is just 13 yards. 13 seconds remaining in the half. 2nd and 10. And Graham's pass incomplete along the sidelines, intended for the rookie out of Purdue, Brian Alford, who made his debut last week.
Well, the thing that they like about Brian Alford is the speed. The Giants really feel like he's a guy who in the coming years is going to give them that deep threat.
In fact, they made a trade with the Eagles. They traded up for the Eagles' 3rd-round pick to select Alford.
And there's Jimmy Robinson, the receivers coach, next to him. But there's a lot more than just speed. I mean, you've got to be elusive and get yourself open as well as have the speed.
On 3rd and 10, Graham over the middle. Giants don't have a timeout. Ball is loose, and that will do it. It has rolled an incomplete pass as time winds down, ending the first half here in Philadelphia. The Eagles with a 10-6 lead over the Giants. The only touchdown of the game, a 64-yard touchdown run by Deuce Staley, who went over the 1,000-yard mark on the play. Chris Bonio added a 19-yard field goal. Brad D'Aloiso kicked a pair of field goals for Jim Fossil's Giants. So at the end of the first half, 10-6 Eagles lead. The Visa halftime report is next after this and a word from your local Fox station. Welcome back to Veterans Stadium in Philadelphia, where at halftime the Eagles hold a 10-6 lead over the Giants in the 1998 regular season finale. Kenny Albert along with Tim Green. Time now for our Ask the Pros internet feature. And today's question comes to us from Matt in El Centro, California. And Matt, Tim would like to know, will the Eagles try and go after a quarterback early in the NFL draft?
And I think that they will. It just becomes a matter of how early. And I think a lot of people presume that the Eagles weren't going to win this game today, and that would have guaranteed them the second pick. But right now, the Eagles are ahead by a score of 10-6. If they do get that second pick, and we'll take a look at some of the draft choices that they'll be able to select from. And of course, I think Ricky Williams, a Heisman Trophy winner from Texas, a lot of people are saying he is a once-in-a-decade type of a running back that you can build a team around. But as again, the Eagles are happy with Deuce Staley. I think they're going to go after one of these quarterbacks. Now, Tim Couch, I think, is going to be out of there. I think Cleveland is going to pick him. But if the Eagles have the second pick, I think they'll trade down and try to pick up Culpepper or Donovan McNabb from Syracuse, two outstanding quarterbacks later in that first round.
The opening kickoff in the second half is taken across the 20-yard line by Tiki Barber. Tim McTire on the stop at a penalty marker on the play. It's against the Giants.
Illegal block from behind. Number 34 of the receiving team. 10 yards, first down.
Brandon Sanders, the guilty party, as we take a look at the numbers from the first half.
Again, Kenny, this is by no means a giveaway game to the Giants. And you look at what the Eagles have done, especially here with their passing defense. They've shut down the Giants' passing game, I think, mostly by limiting Kent Graham's ability to go deep. I think that Bobby Taylor and Troy Vincent have covered up his deep receivers, really shortened the pass game and frustrated Kent Graham.
Graham only 5 of 12 in the first half. Charles Way on the carry out to the 13-yard line, a gain of 3.
Of course, the other thing that the Eagles have done is offensively, they've been able to run the football against the Giants defense that is very highly respected around the league.
Giants with 2 field goals, and that has been it, averaging 4.5 yards per carry. On second down, Gary Brown across the 15 to the 16-yard line. 2 yards on the play, and Brown is once again 1 yard shy of 1,000. Michael Zordich shaken up.
Zordich, the real stalwart there for the Eagles, and you see Zordich on this play here. He comes up again to build that 8-man front to enable the defense here to stop Gary Brown. But Charles Way got down low on him and got his knee. Zordich, kind of the guy back there who really is the general of that secondary, really helps make the adjustments and move people around, get everybody in the right spot.
Zordich, the leading tackler on this Eagles squad.
You don't want that either. I mean, that tells you that you struggle with the run game when the strong safety is a leading tackler. And you want the leading tackler on your team to be one of those linebackers up front.
Zordich replaced by Anthony Marshall. 3rd down and 4 upcoming for the Giants on the opening series of the second half. Giants eliminated from the playoff picture earlier today when Tampa Bay beat Cincinnati 35-0. 3 wide receivers for the Giants. Everybody out. And Graham's pass is caught for a first down by Tiki Barber. Al Harris made the tackle.
And I think the halftime adjustments that the Giants made was they said, all right, look, these guys are going to cover us here. Only 3 men on the rush. So Kent Graham doesn't even look deep. He looks for this short underneath pass to Tiki Barber, delivers it right away. And I think that's the way the Giants are going to have to go in the second half if they're going to get their passing game going.
Charles Way. No gain on the play.
You know, a lot of these Philadelphia guys, and you see Edward Jasper on that play there. Now, these guys are playing for a job because they know that while Ray Rhodes is gone, this is an opportunity for them to get log some time on tape for the new coaching staff to say, hey, maybe we want to keep this guy around.
Michael Zordich back in the game for the Eagles. Graham on second down, takes off, and is upended across the 30-yard line by Mike Caldwell. A gain of 9 yards for Graham.
And again, there's a lot of coverage downfield. Kent Graham really has nowhere to throw that football, but this is an element that he brings to that game. Now, the Eagles show like they're going to blitz a lot, but a lot of these blitzers actually peel off into coverage. And then you see Kent Graham has nowhere to go, but he takes this lane here and brings it upfield for a pretty nice gain.
3rd down and 1 from the 31. Gary Brown close to the first down. And if he did pick up the yard, he would hit 1,000 for the season.
Well, if he did, and I don't think he did, Mike Caldwell made it real tough for Gary Brown. Watch Caldwell here on the outside, and he just penetrates right away, gets underneath the offensive lineman, and trips up Gary Brown behind the line of scrimmage.
So the Giants forced to punt. Brad Maynard back at his own 15. Alan Rossum in single safety for the Eagles. Good hang time from Maynard. Rossum across the 30. Rossum still on his feet. Looks to cut it back inside. And is chased down by Marcus Buckley and Sam Garnes. A 14-yard return following a 45-yard punt by Maynard.
Fox NFL Sunday is brought to you by Frost Brewed Coors Light, who reminds you the 3 most important words are, "Hey, beer man."
Good starting field position for the Eagles on a chilly evening in Philadelphia. 1st and 10 from their own 38-yard line. Detmer 4 of 10 in the first half, nearly picked off by Carlton Gray. Well, Tim, Fox congratulates the X-Files. Golden Globe nominee for Best Dramatic Series, Best Actor to David Duchovny, and Best Actress to Gillian Anderson. A part of Fox Sunday night, beginning at 7, 6 Central on Fox.
That's become one of those shows that if you have never seen it, you're kind of left out in the cold. It's like not having seen an episode of Seinfeld.
Well, you've been talking about the X-Files since the inception. And I know you have the VCR set tonight. Here's Staley. Michael Strahan on the stop. No gain on the play.
You know, one of the things that I think makes Michael Strahan special is that he plays with a recklessness. He plays with an instinct that he really says he gets from his defensive line coach. He says that when Earl Leggett was the D-line coach here, he wanted him to lockstep everything and play everything with perfect technique. But now he says he's able to just flow with it, just go to the ball as he did on that last play.
Strahan headed to the Pro Bowl once again. 3rd and 10. Detmer took a hit, and he threw it away. Chad Bratsky coming through, knocking down Detmer.
That's nice coverage downfield by Conrad Hamilton. He had Irving Fryer on that play, and that's exactly where Coy Detmer wanted to go. Well, Detmer sees that the Giants are going to come with the blitz. They start in that bare front, and Chad Bratsky puts the immediate heat on him. He had no receiver to go to anyway.
Tom Hutton's punt is fielded by Amani Toomer, a fair catch at the 27-yard line. Only a 37-yard punt by Hutton. Early 3rd quarter, Philadelphia Eagles leading the New York Giants 10-6. Giants start from their own 27-yard line. 1st and 10. The play fake to Gary Brown, and Graham's pass is caught by Brown out of the 30-yard line. Well, Jim Fossil was an assistant coach in Arizona 2 years ago, and we spoke with Jim about the irony of the Giants battling the Cardinals heading into play today for that final playoff spot.
kind of not in a good situation for me, because if it didn't affect us, I'd love to call Vince and tell him good luck. But for me to call Vince Tobin and wish him good luck is phony, and he would know it. I wish that we were in. It didn't matter, and they were playing for a spot in the playoffs, and I'd love to call him and say good luck.
And, of course, the Giants eliminated earlier today as Graham's pass is deflected, nearly picked off by Brian Dawkins. So now Arizona with the victory, and they lead San Diego 10-3 at the half, would make the playoffs.
Well, Kenny, I'll tell you, right now, the Eagles secondary is taking away the deep ball, taking away the outside wide receivers for Kent Graham. Because on that play, he looked to his left, he wanted to go downfield, he was forced to throw it across the middle because Troy Vincent and Bobby Taylor are doing an outstanding job of just covering up those Giants receivers.
3rd down and 6. 4 wide receivers for the Giants. Graham swings it out to Barber. And Barber is close to the first down. We'll see where they spot the ball.
And again, Eagles choosing, they rush with 3. There's only 3 guys. That means they've got 8 back there in coverage, and there's no place for Kent Graham to go except for this little underneath route here to Tiki Barber.
And Barber was stopped just short. So once again, the Giants will punt. And the victory by Tampa Bay has really taken the air out of the sails of the New York Giants.
I think that it definitely has.
They came in as one of the hottest teams in the NFL over the last 5 weeks. They're awesome on the return. Giants having won 4 of their last 5 victories over Denver and Kansas City. But a flat effort here today after learning that they were eliminated from playoff contention. It is wintertime in Philadelphia. Folks enjoying the winter climate. Cheerleaders bundled up here at the vet. Eagles looking to win their 4th game of the season. They've lost 12. And they start from their own 22-yard line, 1st and 10. Boy Detmer fakes the pitch back and now throws to Kevin Turner out of the backfield, forced out of bounds by Sam Garnes.
So now what the Giants are doing defensively is they're crowding the line of scrimmage. They're saying, all right, look, let's make sure, and there's John Fox, the coordinator, let's make sure that we stop this run. Shut the run down and make Coy Detmer beat us, all right? If we're going to lose in this game, let's not lose it by allowing Deuce Staley to work his way down the field and just chew us up slowly.
Staley with 94 yards today, including a 64-yard touchdown run. Detmer pump fakes and is taken down for the first time in the last 4 games. Jesse Armstead with his 5th sack of the season. And now for an update on the 49ers and Rams. James Brown in Los Angeles.
Hey, Kenny, take a look at R.W. McQuarters on this punt return. How badly does San Francisco want to host the game next week? Pretty badly. 72 yards to pay dirt. McQuarters. San Francisco 2-point conversion makes it 21-7. Back to Kenny Albert and the author, Tim Green.
Thank you, JB. You know, Kenny, JB now is doing the old Bob Costas coast to coast. He's everywhere. Coast to coast with JB.
Filling us in on the 49ers and the Rams. A victory by San Francisco, and they would host Green Bay next week. 2nd catch of the day for Irving Fryer. And he picks up a first down, a gain of 14 yards.
Well, if you can't get it to Irving Fryer throwing deep, then, hey, just get it to him, throw it to him short. And Fryer has always been able to run the ball after the catch. So he sets up here, and it's really a screen pass. And there's a nice job by Ian Beckles of blocking downfield, which really springs Fryer for this first down.
Fryer honored before the game. He had 50 friends and family members, his wife Jackie, his 4 children, along with Tommy McDonald, Harold Carmichael, and Mike Quick, 3 of the greatest receivers in Eagles history. From the 33, Corey Walker across the 35 to the 36-yard line, a gain of 3 on the play.
You know, if they really want to get Irving Fryer those 5 catches to get him to 50, all they have to do is just throw 3 more screen passes to him. That's pretty simple.
He would become the only active player to catch 50 or more 9 consecutive seasons. He set an Eagles record 2 years ago with 88 receptions. 2nd and 7. Detmer's pass incomplete. He was looking for Kevin Turner. Tim, in case you're wondering, and I know you are, why his parents named him Coy. His dad's Sonny Detmer, a high school coach in Texas. There was a legendary player at the University of Texas named Ernie Coy, who was a running back for the New York Giants. He led the Giants in rushing in 1967, and Coy Detmer was named after Ernie Coy.
How do you know these kind of things?
I did not come up with that on my own. I'll tell you that. And Coy is taken down for the 2nd time today. Sack number 15, and that is a new career high for Michael Strahan.
Boy, and Strahan really dumps him hard. I mean, he rushes right over Richard Cooper, and you're going to see him here, and he comes to the inside move, gets into Cooper, comes underneath, and he's on Detmer instantly. And that's really the only way you can sack Coy Detmer, because, again, he gets rid of that ball very quickly.
Strahan with a sack in 6 consecutive games. Amani Toomer, nowhere to go. Forced down by Kevin Turner. 47-yard punt, only 1 on the return by Toomer.
Fox NFL Sunday is brought to you by Southwest Airlines, proud sponsor of the NFL and official airline of the Super Bowl. By Volkswagen, on the road of life, there are passengers and there are drivers. By E-Trade, the #1 rated online broker. And by Pet Boys, cars like us, people love us.
Back in Philadelphia, Giants start from their own 23-yard line, and Gary Brown has gone over the 1,000-yard mark for the 2nd time in his NFL career.
Well, I can say this, Kenny. You know, we talked about what the Giants have done over the last 5 weeks. They've gone 4-1. They've had some good things going. If they lose today to the Philadelphia Eagles, a lot of that is going to be wiped out. And all the romance and the love affair with Kent Graham, a lot of that is going to fade if they can't come back and beat the Philadelphia Eagles here today. So I'm glad for Gary Brown. Don't get me wrong. I'm even more glad for him that he got his big contract, because that's what every player loves to see, another player get a lot of money.
This year, he was making the veteran minimum.
Yeah, so, you know, and when a guy plays as hard as he's played, done what he's done with as little carries as he's had, you love to see that guy rewarded. And, you know, he learned about what it was like to not be part of the National Football League, and it made him hungry, and he's come back, and it's a nice story that he's got that. But still, these Giants need to win this game, or otherwise a lot of that luster is going to be gone.
And the Eagles have held the Giants to just 8 first downs. Grant's pass is caught. A nice play by Toomer. Troy Vincent all over him, and Toomer gains 9 yards.
Now, this is exactly what the Giants thought the Eagles were going to do. They thought that they were going to come on the blitz, and so Kent Graham sees the blitz, and he sees Toomer with single coverage, and he just darts that ball right in there. Nice pass play, and the reason why they got that play off was because the Eagles blitz. They chose the blitz over coverage.
Graham on first down fires off the chest of Ike Hilliard.
That's not good. I mean, so that's the second ball we've seen Ike Hilliard drop. Now, we saw him make one really nice catch, but this is a drop here. This ball is thrown beautifully by Kent Graham. You can see right there, Hilliard's eyes just came off the ball.
And he knew it. Knew he should have had it. 5th drop by the Giants today.
And again, I think it goes back to what you said and what we said from the beginning, that Tampa Bay eliminating them from the playoffs, no doubt. That has a psychological effect on you as a player.
2nd and 10. On the delay, this is Charles Way. Cuts to the outside. Has the first down into Eagles territory. He brings 4 Eagle defenders with him, a gain of 22.
Yeah, and he hurt a couple guys, too. I mean, he left 2 Eagles back there on the ground. Zordich is limping off the field now, and there's another guy who's still down. And Wade does this. This is great balance right here. Watch him. He just gives a stiff arm, and Zordich and James Willis knock each other off, and Charles Wade just keeps going. And I think James Willis may still be the guy who's down.
That is Willis, the middle linebacker. He could not stop Charles Wade, nor could any of his teammates. James Willis off to the sidelines. Giants with a first down on the Eagles' 45. Michael Zordich also shaken up on the last play.
Yeah, Charles Wade just ran through both. Now Zordich hurt his knee earlier, but Wade just ran through both defenders to pick up that first down.
Ike Hilliard in motion. The flea flicker. Graham looking downfield, could not find anybody. And gains 9 yards, takes it out of bounds at the Eagles' 35.
I mean, that is the ultimate display of what this Eagles secondary has done all day to Kent Graham. They have taken away the deep pass on passing plays, and so the Giants fake the run. It's the flea flicker, and even on a fake like that, the secondary of the Eagles has stayed disciplined. They're staying over the top of the receivers, and there's nowhere for Kent Graham to go deep. Look at it. There's a guy deep here. There's another Eagle defender there deep. So Kent Graham's got nothing downfield.
Gary Brown works his way to the Eagles' 33. When the Eagles' 4 starters in the secondary are healthy, Vincent, Dawkins, Zordich, and Taylor, when they all start a game this year, the Eagles are 3-3. When one or more have been out, they haven't won, 0-9. Would you say the secondary has been the strong point of the Eagles' defense all season?
Absolutely, no question. And especially the way they work together and the discipline that those cornerbacks are showing today.
2nd and 8, Graham firing, end zone, incomplete, Chris Callaway.
Wait a minute, he's got to catch that. That's another drop ball for the Giants. So they finally do beat the Eagles secondary. And Callaway had Bobby Taylor beat, and he had Dawkins beat, the safety who was coming over to help, but then he drops the football. This is a well-thrown ball. Look at that. He's got both guys beat, and it's right in his hands. Watch it. There's Dawkins underneath. There's Taylor over the top. Callaway does a great job splitting. Look how open he is. He does a great job splitting it. Graham does a great job throwing it. Now catch it.
3rd and 8. Graham fires. This time Callaway makes the catch for a first down. Down to the Eagles' 12-yard line, a gain of 21 yards.
Now Kent Graham scrambling early in the game pays off because Graham looks like he's going to run. He starts to move, and he draws Brian Dawkins, the safety, off of the coverage, and that opens up his receiver downfield. Now watch. Dawkins sees Graham, and look, he pulls up, and he runs right past Chris Callaway, thinking Graham is going to run that football.
And Callaway has just set a new career high with his 59th reception of the season, his 2nd of the game today. And Brian Dawkins, who suffered a concussion last week against Dallas, being helped off.
He had to redirect so quickly because he thought pass, and then he came to play run, and then he had to redirect to play pass. I like going right back to Chris Callaway after he dropped what would have been a touchdown pass to get his head right back into this game.
10th play of the drive for the Giants. 1st and 10 on the Eagles' 12. Gary Brown up the middle. John Harris out of Kellenberg High School in Inwood, New York, made the stop along with James Willis.
You know, a lot of people criticize Ray Rhodes. He was involved in picking John Harris and bringing him as a first-round draft pick last season. And Harris wasn't ready to play and really didn't add that much to the team. But Ray Rhodes stands by Harris. He says, hey, he's a big, physical guy. He works hard every day in practice. He never stops. and he's going to develop into a serious talent in the National Football League.
In fact, Ray Rhodes brought up the name Michael Strahan and said, hey, Strahan did not emerge until his third or fourth season. Harris only in his second year.
Yeah, and a lot of people don't understand that you have to take young guys, and if you believe in their work ethic and you believe in their physical abilities, and this guy's shown both, then over time it can develop into a big-time player. Sometimes you have to have patience. It's very rare for somebody to come in like a Randy Moss and do the kinds of things he's done as a rookie. I mean, just to dominate games, to take over a football game for a rookie is almost unheard of.
Harris, a first-round pick last year. Edward Jasper, who was cut twice by the Eagles earlier this season and re-signed, is the injured Eagle.
Yeah, and that, you know, he's injured now, but that tells you the state of the Eagles' defense, especially their defensive line. And I think a lot of the reason why they've struggled in shutting down the opponent's run game is because of those injuries to the line. I mean, here's a guy who's out there playing for him right now who was cut twice, as you said.
Last week, the Eagles were without their top 6 defensive linemen, including Hugh Douglas and Al Wallace, who both returned today. Mike Mamula missed the entire season. Red Hall. And here's Jasper, helped off. Imagine a team being without their top 6 defensive linemen in a game. And that is what the Eagles went through last week and lost to the playoff-bound Cowboys by only 4 points. How about the Atlanta Falcons finishing their regular season 14-2? Jets 12-4, headed to the playoffs. Bills will face the Dolphins next week as we take a look at the scores. 2nd down and 9. The play fake. Graham looking end zone, dumps it off. The catch is made by Gary Brown. Upended by Tim McTire after a gain of 6.
And really, it's more of the same thing, Kenny. And Kent Graham really is not able to find much open downfield. And as a defensive back, coverage gets so much easier down in the red zone because you know you've got that end line back there to help you. You don't have to worry about getting beat deep, so you can tighten up your coverage, and then that leaves only the underneath passes open.
4 down and 3 from the 5. Graham throws end zone, and the catch is made on the deflection by Chris Callaway for a Giants touchdown.
What a great play by Callaway. And a beautiful job of Kent Graham using his ability to run, using his ability to scramble. Now, Ike Hilliard gets this ball right in his chest. Graham scrambles, and look at, watch, he throws it perfectly, and it just bounces right off his pads, but Chris Callaway is there with his eyes focused on the ball. What a veteran play. I mean, how many younger guys would just take their eyes off of this thing once they see the pass going to someone else? Not Chris Callaway.
Aloiso adds the extra point. Callaway's 5th touchdown of the season, his first in the last 8 games.
And Graham absolutely loves this play because what looks like a drop touchdown pass turns into a touchdown, and his statistics aren't going to know that it was just a bounce off and a beautiful play by Chris Callaway.
So Callaway comes back just moments after dropping one, which would have been a touchdown.
And this really, Kenny, to go back to what we said right at the beginning of this Giants drive, this is what they need. I mean, they needed to get things going, to work their way downfield, because they got to win this game. Otherwise, everything that's happened over the last 5 weeks, the resurgence of the defense, the resurgence of the run game, Gary Brown establishing himself, all that would be seriously washed away if they were to lose to the Philadelphia Eagles.
But a victory today, and the Giants would finish 8 up, 8 down after starting 3-7 over their first 10. The high point of the season, the win over the Denver Broncos 2 weeks ago. They beat the Chiefs last week and somehow, after the 3-7 start, Giants still had playoff hopes on this final Sunday, but they were squashed by the Tampa Bay Buccaneers, 35-0 winners over the Cincinnati Bengals earlier today. Allen Rossum across the 35, across the 40, into Giants territory, pushed out of bounds by rookie Sean Williams after a return of 54 yards.
Just another indication of the Eagles' unwillingness to lie down. Now there's a wedge up here, and the wedge really becomes like an offensive line, and there's some outstanding blocking in the wedge to open up a hole for Rossum, and then he uses his spring. Here's the wedge. Now this is like substitutes for an offensive line. And look at that hole. I mean, there's a beautiful hole, a beautiful gap right up through the middle of that thing, and Rossum finds it.
Longest return of the season by Rossum. Setting up terrific field position from the Giants' 39. Deuce Staley with George Hegeman, the left guard, leading the way. And that will do it for the third quarter from Veterans Stadium in Philadelphia. A 5-yard touchdown pass from Kent Graham to Chris Callaway has given the Giants a 3-point lead. Fox NFL Sunday continues after these words from your local Fox station. A 13-10 lead for the New York Giants over the Philadelphia Eagles from the vet Kenny Albert, along with Tim Green, as we head to the final quarter of the season.
Yeah, and happy holidays to everyone back home, my beautiful wife Alyssa and kids, and I know your wife is here watching the game, and it's been a great season with you, Kenny.
It certainly has. Once again, year number 5 on Fox. Who can believe it? Detmer's pass is caught by Irving Fryer, his third of the day. And right now, for an NFL update, James Brown in Los Angeles.
And Kenny, I know Timmy can see this. Take a look at Steve Young as he goes back. He sees all-man coverage. He knows he can take it himself. Steps up, takes it 16 yards to pay dirt. And it's San Francisco all over St. Louis, 28-7. Cardinals holding to a touchdown lead over the Chargers. The Cardinals win, and they are in the postseason. Back to Kenny and Tim. And
JB, it's exactly what Chris Collinsworth said in the pregame show. Put the ball in Steve Young's hands, let him make it happen, and the Niners can do some things in the playoffs.
Deuce Staley down to the 31-yard line. 98 yards on the day for Staley.
And a lot of it on that 64-yard touchdown run.
Eagles about 2 yards shy, and they will go for it once again on 4th down, 4th and 2. Would have been a 48-yard field goal attempt. Detmer will throw and has the first down for the fullback, Kevin Turner.
This is a nice play by the Eagles. Now, it's a daring play, but it's a little bootleg pass. And what they do is they start by faking the run. That's the key to the bootleg and getting Jesse Armstead to think run. So Armstead commits, and now he's got to get all the way back out here to cover Kevin Turner, and he just can't do it.
So the Eagles move the chains.
See Detmer leap on that. He must have thrown that pass about 2 yards off the level of the field.
Staley into the backfield by Michael Strahan. It's not Strahan's last game of the year. He's going to the Pro Bowl, and he bought his colleagues on the defensive line watches in his appreciation of their play this year.
Taking 2 of his coaches with him as well, and he said that was a lot of motivation for him in playing this season and what he did this season. And he really has, not only has he had a great season from a sack standpoint, but he's played with some injuries, a back injury, and he's played hard through that.
Detmer's pass incomplete. He was looking for Freddie Solomon. Conrad Hamilton on the coverage. Hamilton's done a terrific job this year replacing the injured Jason Sehorn.
Yeah, he really has. And if you talk to the Giants players as well as the coaches, they say, well, we thought there was going to be a letdown at this position, but now looking back, we see that Conrad Hamilton has done an outstanding job, and we shouldn't have been as worried about him being in the game and part of our lineup as we were.
and 11. From the Giants' 23, Irving Fryar in motion. Detmer backpedaling, now throws, and it is picked off by Sam Garnes. First turnover of the game, first interception of the season by Garnes. So the Giants will take over early in this fourth quarter, leading by 3.
Fox NFL Sunday is brought to you by Chevy Venture. Get more done. Have more fun. Chevy Venture. Let's go. By Sprint. For all the ways you communicate, Sprint keeps you connected to your world. By the remarkable power of new Duracell Ultra. More power, more life. And by Visa, the preferred card of the NFL that's everywhere you want to be.
Following the interception, Giants start from their own 19-yard line. Gary Brown across the 25 to the 27. John Harris made the stop, an 8-yard gain.
Well, it was an aggressive call, Kenny, by John Fox. You're going to see both Sean Williams and Percy Ellsworth, a double safety blitz that gets Detmer back on his back leg, and this is a really ill-advised pass that he puts up in the air. But again, it's really the Giants' offense and Graham working his way down the field, coming up with a touchdown pass that leads to the defense's aggressiveness.
Here's Brown, picks up the first down after Sam Garnes, the second interception of his 2-year career, the first in his first NFL game last year against the Eagles, and he returned it 95 yards for a touchdown.
There you see the influence that these defensive turnovers. But, you know, when I look at this, you wonder which comes first. I mean, because if you're winning, the 7 wins, 17 interceptions, if you're winning, the other team is much more apt to be putting the ball up. You're playing aggressive defense, and you're getting those interceptions.
Giants had 4 last week against the Chiefs. Charles Wayne across the 40 to the 42.
And now the Giants are just starting to take this thing over. I mean, they're dominating the Eagles at the line of scrimmage, and that's exactly what Jim Fossil wants. Again, they want to perpetuate the momentum they established in these last 5 weeks. The run game, I mean, starting out first 10 weeks about 93 yards a game, last 5 weeks 148 yards a game, and today they're already up to 164. That's what they want to do.
First down from the 42. The pitch back to Gary Brown to the outside. And Brown gains 5 to the 47. Gary Brown with 76 yards on the day, 56 for Charles Way.
And the other thing that the Giants have going is third down conversions today. I know they started out sluggish and slow, but since then they've converted 7 of 14 third downs. And that's 50%. That's better than the 39 that they've had in the last 5 weeks.
The last 2 weeks, they've been right around 50%, continuing that string today. Rams pass caught by Chris Callaway. And for an update on the Cardinals and the Chargers, A.B.
Kenny, after Jake the Snake got sacked, loss of 10 yards, this is Chris Jackie trying a 45-yard field goal, no way near the upright. Yeah. Still up 10-3. Arizona has recovered a fumble and in their own territory. We'll get it back to you in a bit. Kenny and Tim.
Well, I know the Giants would just soon have Arizona win. You know, because if Arizona wins, it means that even had Tampa Bay lost, it didn't matter. I know it's all technicality, but it'll make it easier.
Now, Kent Graham, a former Cardinal, he spent 2 years with the Cards. We talked to Kent last night. He still has many good friends on that club. Jim Fossil, some of his family members live in Arizona. He coached with the Cardinals as the offensive coordinator 2 years ago.
And that's where Fossil really learned about all the attributes that Kent Graham has. And really, if you look at Kent Graham, he has everything. The only thing he doesn't have is a lot of game experience. But he's got size, he's got a strong arm, he's very tough and physical, he can run the ball, and Fossil will tell you he works as hard as any veteran quarterback in the NFL.
Charles Way down to the Eagles 43. Today only the 24th start of Graham's 7-year NFL career, and he only started 11 games in college.
That's right. And Jim Fossil says, I know a guy is doing extra work, extra homework when he comes in after a practice the next day. First thing the next morning, he's asking questions about what happened in practice yesterday. And Kent Graham has really turned himself with his study habits into almost like a pseudo coach type of guy. So he's able to generate questions and sometimes even answers for Jim Fossil in the offensive game plan.
3rd down and 4. 3 wideouts for the Giants. And Graham's pass is caught for another first down by Amani Toomer. So the Giants keep their drive alive, a gain of 14 yards.
Yeah, and this is what the Giants have come to expect from Amani Toomer this season. Now, last season, they didn't expect anything from him. But this season, they expect him to get open as he does in this little out pattern here, and then make the catch, and then make some good things happen. And he was the guy that caught that winning touchdown pass that enabled the Giants to beat the Broncos.
Gary Brown, getting back to the quarterback situation. Danny Cannell started the first 10. Kent Graham, the last 6. They have Mike Cherry, a hard-throwing second-year quarterback out of Murray State who is going over to the NFL Europe. You have potential free agents. Kerry Collins could be available. What is your take? Who will the Giants quarterback be next year?
Well, I think from talking with Jim Fossil yesterday, not that he came right out and said it, but I think the way he spoke about Kent Graham made me feel that he believes in Graham's ability. That's not to say that Danny Cannell won't get another chance either here or in the league some other time, because we all know that quarterback rotation just seems to roll around and around from season to season and game to game.
More big yardage for Gary Brown as the Giants continue to run on the Eagles here in the second half.
Yeah, again, I mean, they're just dominating the line of scrimmage. This one, the Eagles have pretty much folded it right now. You know, the interception was really a death knell for that Eagles team. And watch it here. I mean, there's just some beautiful blocking up front. You know, Charles Way makes a nice block. And then, you know, downfield, Ike Hilliard's got a block. So they're just dominating. They're physically beating the Eagles right now.
98 yards on the ground for Gary Brown. He has 3 consecutive 100-yard games, 52 of his 98 yards. Following the first contact, Brown over 100, and a penalty marker on the play.
I mean, there were some more yards after contact on that one. I mean, Brown hits the pile, and the pile just goes towards the goal line.
It's against the Giants.
Number 53 of the offense. 10 yards. Repeat first down.
Lance Scott, the center, with his turn for a little close-up.
Helps him to 6th Giants penalty today, 4th against the offensive line. Eagles, believe it or not, have not committed 1.
Yeah, it's hard to believe because in the first game between these two teams, Eagles had 11. Here's Lance Scott right there. That's a pretty good tackle. That's a good hold. That's a good holding call.
Roman Oben, the left tackle, is the only Giants offensive lineman who has not been flagged today. He committed 3 last week against the Chiefs. Following the penalty, the line of scrimmage now the 18-yard line, 1st and goal. Graham pump fakes, now throws end zone, and the catch is made for a touchdown. It's Callaway again.
What a beautifully executed play by Kent Graham. Man, that was nice. That was just nice. Al Harris has got the coverage on Callaway. Watch him peek back to the inside. Kent Graham's pump fake draws him just enough off of the coverage, and this time Chris Callaway comes down with that touchdown pass in the end zone when it's thrown to him. The other one he got on a rebound, but there's that pump fake, and Graham just executes it to perfection. No pressure whatsoever in Kent Graham's face. Again, the Giants just took this thing over. They own the line of scrimmage.
It's the first 2-touchdown game of Callaway's career. He's the first Giant to score 2 in a game this year. Chris Callaway, the 9-year veteran, with his first career 2-touchdown game. Both here in the second half. As the Giants lead over the Eagles is now 20-10 in the final game of the 1998 regular season, huge edge in time of possession for the Giants.
Again, that, I think, is what enabled that Giants defense to play very aggressively, very fresh with the safety blitz. That led to the turnover. That led to the Giants' last drive and touchdown.
Corey Walker across the 25-yard line with 5.5 remaining in the fourth quarter. We'll be right back.
I'll let you take another look at Kent Graham's pump fake and its effect on Al Harris downfield. Now there's the pump right there, and you see Al Harris right here, and watch him. He's still moving forward, and that's what enables Callaway to get behind him. Kent Graham using his mind, using his arm. Chris Callaway using that great concentration for a second touchdown pass. Second touchdown reception.
And Graham's second touchdown pass. In the last 3 games, Graham with 5 TDs, no interceptions. Detmer on first down. And Sam Garnes makes the stop on Corey Walker. Garnes with the big interception earlier this quarter. We approach 5 minutes remaining. Giants outgaining the Eagles in the second half by an 8-to-1 ratio. 325 total yards for the Giants. Detmer, quick drop, pass incomplete, intended for Freddie Solomon. And for another NFL update, let's return to James Brown in Los Angeles.
Kenny and Tim, Arizona finally expands the lead to 10. Chris Jackie, this time with a 36-yard field goal, that coming after a fumble recovery, and Arizona on top by 10. Back to Kenny and Tim.
Thanks, JB. And I think Arizona is a good example of how you've got to have a quarterback that can make big plays if you're going to have success, if you're going to get into the postseason, and Arizona has that. Plummer can run, and he's got a very powerful arm.
Detmer's pass is caught downfield by Dietrich Jells. Only his second reception of the season, a 36-yard gain.
And Jells is kind of like the counterpart to the Giants' Brian Alford. He's a young guy with a lot of speed, and Koy Detmer does a beautiful job of launching this ball and dropping it right in there. Now, you see how much air Detmer puts under his ball. Detmer doesn't have the strongest arm in the world, but if you can time it up and drop it in the bucket, you can make some things happen downfield.
On first down, play action. Detmer rolling right. And the pass is caught by the tight end, Chris Fontenot, for another Eagles first down.
I think that's Bubba Miller who caught that pass.
Oh, was me. 65,
that's big Bubba.
85.
He's over 300 pounds, and that's probably the first pass. I know it's the first pass he's caught in live action, but I know he was dropping them in practice, and they wanted Big Bubba to get a pass today. Look at him out there. 65. He has to report as an eligible receiver every time he comes in. He has the number of an interior lineman. They wanted to get the ball in Big Bubba's hands, and they did it on that bootleg pass.
65 Miller, not 85 Fontenot. Our apologies to Bubba Miller. His first NFL reception. Detmer's throw over the top is caught by Freddie Solomon at the Giants.
Yeah, he's got
14.
First down. I don't think you have to apologize. I'll bet even Bubba's mom was surprised that he caught that pass. 6'1", 305 pounds. An interior lineman. Again, we talked about him earlier in the game, how the Eagles like to use him at that tight end, mostly for blocking. This time, when he ran out in the pattern, most of the defenders, I'm sure, thought he was just an illegal guy downfield. Didn't even bother to cover him.
Detmer on first down off the fingertips of Irving Fryar.
You know, Kenny, I know it's Irving Fryar's last game, but that kind of epitomizes what happened to Irving Fryar this season. He was the best thing about this Eagles offense coming into this season, but he's had a lot of drop balls. He's lost his concentration. You know, Howie Long talked about it on the pregame show and how fortunate he was to go out as a Pro Bowl player at the top of his game. And although Irving Fryar's had a spectacular career, this season was not going to be a memorable one for him.
Solomon in motion. Detmer rolling right, chased by Tad Brodsky. And the pass is caught by Kevin Turner at the Giants' 5-yard line. Detmer bounces right back up.
And again, that's Detmer imitating a Flutie, imitating a Jake Plummer. He rolls one way, breaks back the other, finds a receiver, and hits him out in the open.
Timeout called with 2:42 remaining. Tonight, Homer becomes an inventive genius and creates the ultimate sports chair on The Simpsons. And in the 70s, there's no better way to greet the president than by streaking on that 70s show. Fox, Sunday night, starts tonight at 7, 6 Central. 2:42 remaining. Giants leading by 10. 3rd down and 2. Corey Walker looks to cut it outside and loses a yard.
And there's Strahan's athleticism. When we talked about it earlier, we talked about the fine season he's had and playing with injury. And watch him here. He just comes, he redirects on this play and makes this tackle to the outside. Begins it thinking it's a pass. And look at that. Just enough to get himself outside.
On 4th down, Detmer's pass incomplete. He was looking for Irving Fryer in the end zone on what could be the final play of Fryer's illustrious 15-year NFL career.
Now, a lot of things are ending here today for the Philadelphia Eagles. Irving Fryer won't be here next year. Ray Rhodes, by his own admission, will not be here next year. So the question arises, who will be here? And I think with the director of football operations being Tom Modrak, that the most likely candidate is going to be Jim Haslett, the defensive coordinator for Pittsburgh. And there's some other offensive-minded guys, Chris Palmer and Brian Billick. But I think Dom Capers may be another possibility. The head coach for the Panthers, who's done such a good job, I think, down there. Struggled with a lot of injuries this season. But he was a guy who also came from Pittsburgh, who Modrak knows him well and respects him highly. So a lot of people are saying they would like to see a Palmer, who's an offensive coordinator for Jacksonville, or a Billick, who's going to be a highly sought-after guy after what he's done with the Minnesota Vikings. But I still say it'll be Haslett and then Capers being the dark horse.
What about Ray Rhodes? Where do you think he will go?
I think Ray Rhodes will be in Green Bay if Mike Holmgren is not the coach there. And I don't think Holmgren will be there. I think Holmgren's going to look for a place where he can be a general manager and a coach. And I think that Ron Wolf, the GM for the Packers, would love to have Ray Rhodes.
Ray Rhodes said during the week, Sunday is my last game in Philadelphia as coach. It is not my last game as a coach. He said it has been the biggest nightmare he's gone through as a coach this season, but is still very confident that he can win in the right situation. 2 minutes remaining from the vet. Giants by 10. Two minutes remaining. It looks as if the New York Giants will finish 8 up, 8 down after a 3-7 start during the 1998 season. Barry Brown over the 100-yard mark for the 4th consecutive game and the 6th time this season. And as time winds down in the Fox season number 5 of bringing you the NFL, we would like to thank our entire crew who have done a terrific job all year. Our producer today, P.T. Navarro, director Peter Bleckner, the pregame show produced by Scott Eckerson, directed by Bob Levy. Our technical producer, Kevin McRoby, associate director Larry Lancaster, broadcast associate Robert Slosby. The senior producer of Fox Sports is Bill Brown. The executive producers, Ed Gorin and David Hill. We would also like to thank Dave Bernstein, Mike Montavani, Jamie McCombs, the Senator, Bill Murillo, Jay Clark, Mike Address, Steve Baldwin, Gene Matthews, Christine Schlamp. Crunching the numbers today, Barry Hockhauser with Mark Cole, Mike Eldridge, and Jesse Jacobs. And we would also like to thank some of those who are not with us today but have been throughout the season. Ray Smaltz, Rich Russo, our producer/director, as well as Ben Bulma and Dave Brooks. A terrific job by our entire Fox crew.
Absolutely. A great job by them, Kenny. A great job by you. A great job by the New York Giants to perpetuate that momentum that they've had, now going 5-1 in their last 6 games. You know, they were sluggish at the beginning of this thing, and I think a lot of that had to do with them knowing they were out of the playoffs because of Tampa Bay's win. But they got it back, they got it going, they got their run game going, they got their pass game going, the defense turned aggressive. And again, this is a team that if they play this way next season, mark my words, they will win the NFC East Division.
And a nice moment as Jim Fossil and Ray Rhodes get together. Rhodes Club losing a franchise record 13 games. They will have the number 2 pick in the draft. Eagles finished 3-13, Giants 8-8, and Ken Cram 5-1 as a starter. So for Tim Green, Kenny Albert saying so long from Philadelphia. Thanks for joining us. Giants over the Eagles 20-10. James Brown will be along to tell you all about the playoff possibilities and wrap up the final Sunday after this and a word from your local Fox station.